Complete headset in this, so I'm just going to lower the bike down, drop the wheel on the ground, give the right Allen key.
So do you think it helps being a cycle mechanic that you're actually quite passionate about cycling? You do a lot of cycling yourself compared to the standard?
I try and cycle at least once a week to get away from work. Actually, when you're working 6 days a week, you know, it's got a lot of benefits for cycling. Yeah, you've got to have a certain amount of passion to do it. I mean, I've probably been fixing bikes longer than I've actually been riding them.
So the symptoms with this bike was then we started having notching with the handlebars, and then you could see some rust forming at the bottom.
So, I mean, when we pull it apart, we'll be able to see. Just pull the handlebars off, take the spacers out. There's a bit of a mucky, watery colour. Oh yeah, the bottom's gonna. You can see that it's almost like mud, isn't it?
And that, as you can see, is rust. Isn't it?
Yeah, water's got in there. If it got into your bottom bracket, it's got into the frame, hasn't it? So we'll have to clean all that up. I'll just give it a wipe for now. And actually, I don't know if you can pick that up on your camera, but that's the crown race, which has got to come off, but it's not smooth anymore, it's pitted and marked. So we just pulled the bottom bearings out, and you can see the colour. I'm just going to throw them straight in there. That is the seal. Obviously it's not really sealing very well, but like we say, if the water's got in the frame, there's holes in these tubes into the head tube.
Is there many common issues you have to fix because people don't look after the bikes properly?
Yeah, bearings is probably one of the main things, because they need servicing, they need cleaning quite regular. Obviously the conditions in England can change very quick. You've got high temperatures, cold temperatures, rain.
And how often do you think you should serve, if you're using your bike to commute on a daily basis, you know, or you're using it of a weekend quite regular, how often do you think you should have to service a bike?
If it's being used regular, every day, the water act's probably being expelled. Where if you use it at the weekend, the headset and the bottom bracket and the wheel hubs get the water and the mud in there, then people leave them indoors in the dry, it speeds up the corrosion. Where if you're using it, it's being moved. But it really is down to the conditions, but really 6 months, 1,000 miles, these parts really need looking at. Some systems are better than others. The quality of parts make a difference. Right, so we're going to knock these cups out the frame. I'll just give them a wipe, just so it keeps the tool a little bit cleaner.
You're using a specialist tool to knock these out, are you? Or?
Yeah, this is a cup remover tool. So that is sprayed open. So that just pushes up, and just clicks into position. I just hold the bottoms to support the frame. That's it, that's the cup. So you can see it's a messy job. Just give that a wipe in there.
Is there any evidence of any further damage in there then?
It's quite clean actually. Obviously the dirt has just got up through the cup in the bottom.
Which one did you manage to get?
Right, this is M-Part headset, and it's their Elite one. So just going to identify the top and the bottom. That's the bottom one. So where we pulled that one away, you've got ball bearings sitting in a cage. This one is sealed bearings.
So they have a longer life?
Have a longer life, so that it's almost got a double seal. And also you can replace just that now, because there's no ball bearings to actually damage inside the cup.
So it's going to be a cheaper fix next time?
It's going to be cheaper next time, you just get these.
Well, ideally it wouldn't happen next time because it's the seal, so they wouldn't get into there, yeah.
It's going to be checked.
And it's going to be serviced, yeah.
You've got there's a little seal, I don't know if you can pick that up, but there's a little seal there. So that go into the frame, and that seal sits on there. Sorry, that goes in first, and that seal sits in there. So basically you just pull this apart, you don't need to take the cups out, you just clean in here, just put a smear of grease like there is on here, and just reassemble it. And also, when it's all kept clean, you've actually got the measurements of the size of the bearing on there, so it just makes identifying the bearing a lot easier. So I'm just going to pull those bearings out, and then we've got this tool. So we've got the writing on there, just going to get that at the front of the frame. What I do, I spin the bike round, you might be able to see it a bit easier from the front. So the cup goes in there, that drops in there. Some people fit them cups in dry. I tend to just put a little bit of grease. Stops water getting in. We'll line that up. You can, with this tool, fit both cups at the same time. I'm just going to do one at a time.
Just to make sure you align it properly.
Yeah.
I've never known us in engineering fit press two bearings at the same time.
You can do some. It depends on the frame and the system.
Yeah.
Some go easier. All I'm going to do is line that M up with the centre of here really, and then just try and you want to start it as square as you can. If you get it wrong, we got the tool, we can knock it out again. Yeah, that all looks pretty good, and then just turn the handle. Makes nice work. Better than sticking it in the vice with two bits of wood.
Well, I think that's what I was just thinking actually. This isn't really something I could do at home because I don't have the tooling.
No.
And when you're spending the money on parts with what they cost, you don't want to be knocking it in with a socket or something daft like that, because if you don't get it right and you're knocking it in with a hammer, you might split your frame.
I mean, if you're out in South America or somewhere and you have to, you've got to use what you've got to use.
But you can see from tonight's work, it's all been specialist tooling, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Despite me having lots of tools for working on my car, none of them would work tonight. So same again, align it up, greased it.
Yeah, bit of grease on there, lined it up again. Make sure the cup's going in square. Yeah, that's it. just a smear of grease inside the cup. Top bearing. Just a smear of grease in there. And also with the headset you got that bearing's made out of steel with aluminium, so you want a bit of grease in there because if you do get water the two can
dissimilar
corrode.
corrosion, yeah.
But this has been anodised, so it's, you know, it's a better headset.
That stops the aluminium being exposed, isn't it?
And then I just wipe a smear on that seal. And then that just sits there. And then before we assemble the bottom one, we got to knock that crown race off the bottom of the fork. So we're just going to see whether we can tap that off or if we need a tool. Okay, yeah. So there is a little groove here and there. We can okay, so we just got a set of chisels. I would think.
Mummy's going to get some milk to the shops.
Okay, oh, we'll just unstrap that. What we're going to do, let's see if we can get that started. That's moved. And then just come round this side. There you go. And we'll just clean this up and see what these marks are here. And then we got another special tool for fitting that. See? Right, for fitting that, we've got a slide hammer. So there's quite a bit of weight in there. Crown race. We'll just give that a little wipe. We can bring it round here. I don't know if you can see, just give this a wipe here. Smear of grease. Crown race. And slide hammer. That's it. That's it. The same again. Bit of grease on there. Bearing. That seal. And the bearing. Bit more grease.
So I suppose the other aspect of watching you do the work is you get to get the advice on how to look after what's being fixed, and
you can see what's involved and what parts are what. Just make sure the cables are correct. Push the down. There's also an O-ring inside there. Also in the top cap there's an O-ring on the inside where we just put a So as we push it on, the O-ring doesn't twist. That feels better. Spacers.
Looking a bit more like a bike now.
It's looking back to normal. You better ride it tonight.
Yeah. Best thing about it, isn't it? As soon as you finish, straight on it.
You can test it.
So when you finish working on people's bikes, you tend to just have a pedal to make sure they have a test of the bike.
Always. Yeah. Always. So put the ruler here, then you know you're getting the steering in line. So just keep the foot against the wheel. Ruler here. I don't know if you can get the. I don't know if you could have picked that up actually. All you're doing is trying to make sure you've got an even gap between the ruler and the. So tightening that one up preloads the bearings. Then we just tighten the clamp up to 5 Newton meters.
One time I had a golden ball.
And I'll just put the bike on the ground. We'll have to get you another cable tie there, I think, Paul. And just apply the brake, bounce up and down, and just check the steerings. There's no movement in it. So we sort of recommend about 200 miles time, just apply the brake and just see if the bearings have come loose. If they have, it's just undo the clamp and just give it a quarter of a turn, tighten the clamp back up. And then it's we'll just cable tie this up and give it a rotate.